everyone, it's James.
And Stephanie.
And welcome to Florida.
Yeah, maybe the water gave it away that we're not in Utah right now.
Yeah, we're not in Utah, but we're not here to hang out by the water today, unfortunately. Yes. We are here to visit a company. We're going to see Lithionics Battery.
So you all know we're about to get a Winnebago Echo, and that comes standard with lithium batteries that are from Lithionics.
Right, now we are very familiar with Lithionics batteries. We had one in Lance for several years.
Loved it.
Yep, and we actually even came to visit Lithionics about 4 years ago now.
Right.
But a lot has changed there, and a lot has changed at the company and with their batteries, and so even though the Winnebago Echo comes standard and has an option for quite a bit of lithium battery, I have a feeling that might not be enough for me. So
more, always want more.
That's right. So we're going to head over to Lithionics Batteries to check things out and see, and maybe get some tips on how to go about adding more batteries. So they're probably waiting for us. So
All right, time to leave the water.
Yeah, you don't have to persuade.
Factory.
You don't have to persuade me to leave the sand. Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Hello, welcome to Lithionics Battery.
Steve, thanks for having us
I know,
back.
good to see you. You look the same.
Oh, I love you.
Guys just don't change all these years later. So we were so happy to see all the videos about, hey, we got Lance perfected. You're like me, you perfect it and then give it to somebody else. So now you have this journey, and I seem to remember you sitting on a park bench saying, is it possible that I can get 20,000 watt hours?
I'm never going to live that down.
So we want to show you the new factory, but we also want to show you what 20,000 watt hours looks like. It's never been done. I think we've done 12,000 watt hours in a motorhome, a B-van, but it's right behind me. Here we go.
So
this is 20K.
Yeah, this is 1,600 usable lithium amp hours, enough to be off-grid for a long time.
Not too bad.
Very small footprint. This is our new GTX technology. Lance has GT technology, which is over here.
Right, but this is what the Echoes are going to have, or is this?
So Lance was 126 watt hours per kilogram. This is 176 watt hours per kilogram.
More energy
so
more
space
30% more. And space is at such a premium, it actually is possible to put massive power in a small footprint. And we just put this together yesterday. We thought, well, they're really coming this time, and we really got to show them what this looks like to see if this is something that you want to do.
This is possible.
It's very possible.
I gotta build some storage. Okay, but as much as I would love to be just talking about our needs, because that's what's important to me, there's a lot more going on at Lithionics than just our little...
Yeah, things changed during COVID. You know, the world changed, how we travel, whether we stay in hotels or RVs, and everybody knows the RV industry is setting records. There's a generator shortage going on. So now all of a sudden people are thinking, hey, do I need a generator at all? And I think in your Echo, you said you did not order a generator.
No.
Right. Well, that generator is 2,800 watts. This is over 20,000 watts. So you've got quite a bit of power generation here.
Well, we've gone 4 years with Lance with not having a generator, and we wouldn't want to go backwards. We're excited to move forward with a lithium system in our Echo, too.
Yeah. We're happy to be a part of it. We know that you have a great following, and
we're excited for this factory tour. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So we'll introduce you to all of our engineers. We'll show you some of our new automation, our new battery technology, and we appreciate the audience that you have. They're very technically oriented.
Yeah.
Our audience is.
Yeah, we have a smart following.
You're sucking up.
No, but we really do. It takes quite a person to sit through a battery, factory tour.
Right. I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
All right, well, let's get started.
All right, good. Very good. So here we are 4 years later. This is the very spot we started when we were a much smaller factory.
I remember.
We had just moved into the factory.
You've painted.
Yeah, we painted it in, and we have nicer floors with our logo. So this is still our engineering testing laboratory.
Okay.
So our company doubled and then tripled during COVID. Obviously, the RV industry is doing great. So we have to deal with doing more of everything without adding too many more people. So this is a robotic ferro arm. It's a coordinate measurement machine and this is used to check incoming items like bus bars. Over in the corner you see a QC test station for testing battery management systems. And so this is our quality control area. This is what we call factory number 1.
Got
Okay.
it.
Whoa.
This is just empty
Holy,
cases.
lots of
Yeah.
battery cases.
Yeah, it goes way back too.
These, all right, these I recognize.
Yeah, those are the Echo batteries right there.
Nice.
I think Lance's batteries didn't
Well, Lance had a
battery-
plastic case, but
Yeah,
it's
but it
that
was a-
same form factor.
That's the same form factor. That's the new UL version of the plastic cased Lance battery.
Okay.
Right. So we had to get UL because the RV industry wanted it. They want insurance policies that cover any kind of liability. So every battery that we make is covered by an insurance policy from Liberty Mutual. So let's show you the new factory.
Right, great.
Okay.
And that UL is like a really big deal, right? That's like a lot of testing and
Yeah.
a process you have to go through.
So there's got to be a lot of different UL standards, right? Because the same standard that puts a sticker on my Christmas tree lights,
Right.
you know, is not going to be the same thing that you're testing. to.
Correct. Yeah. The UL 1973 is stationary, and those are your electrical tests. But then the minute that battery goes down the road, now you have motive tests, which is shock, crash, vibration, humidity. So there's a lot of tests to simulate a crash. And there's about 40 tests. And what UL says is that no matter what we try to do to these batteries, there's no fire, no explosion, no release of combustible vapors, no release of toxic vapors. Well, what does all that mean? You can sleep next to your battery
I love
and
that.
have peace of mind. That's the main thing.
No matter what happens,
That's a
Right.
really
nothing
big
bad's going
deal.
to happen.
That's-
Okay, so UL, the tests are typically $80,000 to $100,000.
Oh.
They're very expensive, and that doesn't count the roughly $50,000 worth of batteries they destroy.
Wait, you're paying them to blow up your batteries.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
want that job.
And at the end of the testing, they said, "Do you want them back?" And I'm like, "Why?" So it would just be expensive trophies.
So they tried to blow up your batteries and they weren't able to, and that's how you got UL.
So as of this morning, we believe that we're still the one and only,
Wow.
and
So it's very rare to have
it's
this
rare. Yeah, it takes about a year to go through all the testing.
So this hall, I see boxes.
Yeah, this is our UNDOT packaging. The transportation system does not allow you to ship lithium unless it's in very special certified boxes, and we use plastic pallets instead of wooden pallets that can crumble during transportation.
So you can ship your batteries.
Yeah, and the really good thing is we can pick up batteries. If a consumer has an issue, because we're UL, FedEx Ground will come right to your house and pick up a battery, and you don't have to worry about a thing.
Echo, if our Echo battery were to have trouble, you would pick it up
Yep.
and help us.
You don't have to do a thing. You call us up and say,
That's cool.
I think there's something wrong with this battery and we'd like to send it back. It hasn't happened. You know, we have the batteries in the Revel, we have the batteries in the View Navion. Maybe out of thousands of batteries, we might have had one or two that might have had to come back for a firmware upgrade, but now we have firmware upgrades in the field. So
By
that's a
the phone,
bootloader
right?
by the phone, right?
Okay.
We'll show you that.
All right.
So here's the packaging engineering. I mean, everything that we do is just got engineering behind it.
So
Okay.
normally you can't ship lithium batteries? I
No,
didn't know
no. It has to be UNDOT 38.3. So our OEM customers love the fact that we're using UL in the U.S. and we're using MGA research in the U.S. So it's all about transparency and honesty.
I love it.
So here's the Echo batteries right here.
Oh, right
You're
on.
ready to go.
Ready to go.
Ready to go, right? So we do our own printing. This is our in-house printing. We do our own labels. Now we cannot print UL labels. So UL labels have to come from, of course, a UL listed
Of
printer
course.
because the labels have to last 20 years.
Ah.
Oh, do you remember this?
Yeah, but last time I saw it, you only had like 2 or 4.
Yeah, we showed you the prototype 4 years ago.
Okay.
This is really big in the yacht industry, and we're showing this with great interest of the RV industry. So this is buying an external BMS, and then the consumer can just plug in whatever modules he wants later. So this is a 6-port combiner box,
What?
By BMS.
battery management system.
Okay.
So
Right.
you don't need any tools for that. It's just a bam.
No tools, all
Okay.
plug and play. This BMS can control up to 6 modules, And if you buy a coach in the future with an external BMS, you have a module, you can always add this later to then plug in more modules, and you don't have to go to the dealer to do it.
Okay, cool. That's super convenient for people that want to upgrade.
Then here's
this is what the battery would look like. This is the other end of that.
Right. Now, interestingly, these are 51 volt batteries.
Oh, you do the 48 slash 51 volts.
We have UL listing on 24 and 51 volt. These batteries are going to San Antonio, Texas, for the Riverwalk to get on a tour boat, and there's about 50 tour boats that are using these for propulsion. They were burning propane, and people were complaining, you know that as an RV owner, complaining about the noise and the smell. So they went electric about a year ago, and now they're converting all the boats. So we had about a 1-year test program, but this is 6 batteries which can propel a 50-man boat for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Really?
Right. So it's yeah. So this is our final staging area.
So these are ready to go.
Yeah, these are being labeled for compliance,
Okay.
and then we'll ship them out the door. Now, the limitation with an internal BMS is the load. They're typically only 100 amps continuous, but your inverter is capable of 250 amps, 3 kilowatts.
Well, it will be. We have we're going to
Oh, that's right. You have a 2 kilowatt,
Yeah.
but you want to upgrade to the 3 kilowatt. The battery management system is heat sinking into the aluminum enclosure.
Okay, because it will get hot passing that much current, right?
Yeah, if you're in a plastic case, there's no place for the heat to go. You'll notice when you're discharging your batteries, when you get them, if you put your hand on the lid, they're slightly warm to the touch.
Okay.
So we thought, well, if UL requires a fireproof aluminum enclosure, let's use it as a heat sink. So when you look inside, you see that blue film, that is a thermal sponge. So you see the heat sinks, the heat sink plate, but we're heat sinking into the lid.
So basically, you're turning the entire, and the case is aluminum too.
Yeah.
So you're turning the entire battery into sort of a radiator.
Big giant heat sink.
Radiator of sorts. Okay.
Absolutely. Right.
Got it.
So it's just helping to regulate the heat that is created within the battery.
Every inch counts.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
like every small thing you do. So what we see here is all of the laser welded cores. So there's 2 kinds of assembly. There's screw assembly.
Okay.
Lance had bolted bus bars.
Okay.
And the Echo battery is going to have laser welded bus bars. So the whole frame is laser welded and an outside supplier.
Okay.
And so the pack is coming in. It's a lower cost battery, and so we're trying to do high volume production now that the RV industry is interested in having these standard in many of the chassis. So to produce more, we're not using the automatic torque wrench machines that you might have seen before.
Okay.
Now the packs are coming in laser welded, and then it's all about case and thermal management with the battery management system.
So the cell itself is just these.
One of these items that goes halfway.
Right. Okay.
Correct. And so this is 7,680 watt hours.
Wow. So these are not, a lot of times, these are not cylindrical cells, which these are larger format cells.
Prismatic. The fewer number of cells that you have, the better you can match them. When you have too many cylindrical cells over time, they drift on impedance, they age. So as a cell ages, its internal resistance is going to change. So if you want to build a big battery, you cannot use hundreds and hundreds of cells. You're only as good as your weakest cell. So the weakest cell is going to stop the discharge on your battery management system.
Okay.
So you have to be very careful that these cells are matched, but it's Occam's razor. The simpler solutions are better. The fewer number of cells are better.
Right.
And so now we've got, in yours, they're 110 amp hour cells. Lance has 75 amp hour cells.
Okay.
The new GTX is either 110 or 275. So again, the prismatics are getting bigger. And there's another huge advantage.
There's fewer points of failure, right?
Oh, fewer points of failure, especially if it's laser welded. But Customers want heater kits.
Yes.
They want safe, low energy, highly efficient heater kits.
Absolutely.
If you have cylindrical cells, you have to radiate through the air to reach all the
because they're not all
individual-
touching
they're not
any
touching
one
each
point.
other.
Okay.
Right. So on this particular pack, if we built this for Lance today, we split this, we run a silicone heater pad up the middle, and then we're heating, we're touching
Every single
cell. So when we get over to the other side, we're going to show you how the heater pad is installed on this particular module. So hopefully they're putting one together and you'll be able to see that. We just got UL listing on the heater kit. Because think about it, it's kind of dangerous to heat up a lithium cell.
Yeah, you're not supposed to heat it.
Right. You don't want to put a thermal source next to that. But we tested these for about 5 years, and then we said we got to get UL. So now we have UL in the heater kit.
So many batteries.
One of the huge challenges of building any battery is, and to get through UL, is anti-shock foam. So you have to have anti-shock foam, but nobody does it. The reason why nobody does it is because it doesn't allow heat to escape. So if you're in a sealed battery box, you cannot have any inefficiencies that generate heat, exothermic heat waste. So the insulation works for you, works against you. So our batteries are about 98% efficient, and anything that's that efficient doesn't accumulate heat waste inside the battery. So for many, many years, it's been a balancing act between anti-shock foam, especially all of you folks that have all-wheel drive and off-road capability. That's the new thing. People want to go off-road.
Right, you're going to bounce it around.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, these are going to take a ton of abuse.
So you mentioned the vibration testing. This plays into the vibration testing.
Yeah, there's two vibration tests. So UL tested at 40 Gs. Why 40 Gs? I don't know. But
It's a heck of a vibration.
That is.
MGA tested at 150 Gs. That's where we get our crash test.
Okay.
150 Gs is equal to you driving your RV or the battery into a wall at 60 miles an hour.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
and then
that's
UL
pretty
is
intense.
UL is 22,000 pounds of crush, and that's why you have to have a metal enclosure.
Okay.
And
Wow.
you passed all that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, are the batteries more money than the imports? They are, but you're getting something for that money.
Absolutely.
This might even survive a trip with the baggage handlers.
So this is a burn-in station.
Okay.
I wish one was running, but this is something that Chris and Dimitri and James designed. And it's an extra process where we burn in every single cell and then make sure the impedances are all matched. So there's like 8 hours of burn-in.
Per battery?
But what
Yeah,
does that do?
burn-in.
So you have to burn in the cell for 8 hours. I'm still a little confused. What does that do?
You have to make sure that the cells are all going to be even when that
Right.
battery goes out the door.
That makes sense. But
Now, if it's not even, you could have balancing going on. It's a nuisance factor. The battery could be shutting off, trying to balance itself. So
Okay.
you're going to take a 3.2 volt charger, and then you're going to run these up to the maximum voltage
got it.
and make sure they stabilize. That's all you're looking for.
Okay,
is
so you're
that
just checking.
So,
Is it-
so
checking.
I guess think about it. Maybe like when you get a cell,
Right.
one cell might be like, you know, an eighth full, one might be a 16th full, and they're uneven. And so by charging, make sure they're all charged all the way and then
Okay.
discharged all the way. You know that they're all starting
okay,
at the
got
same
it.
place.
So it's not some
Is
sort
that-
of calibration. It's just
You got ahead of me. You have to have a known starting point.
There you go.
The discharge is what we're going to go to next.
Okay.
Because that's the birth certificate of the battery. Now you noticed on the battery that there's a high degree of reflection. So
we
we
have
have
a shiny bus bar.
yeah, and you cannot pick up thermal imaging. So burn-in is a QC check, and then we go to a paint booth
Okay.
for what's called an anti-emissivity coating, so we can pick up everything on a thermal camera. And then we come out of the paint booth, and then let's show you the final QC.
Okay.
This was probably the longest part about building the factory. So we have TCP/IP telemetry, and we're taking about 50,000 readings on every single battery during load testing, and then the inspector comes over with a very expensive thermal camera, and then hopefully you can get some shots of that thermal camera, but we're looking for hot spots in the battery. So it takes about 3 hours to build a battery, but 8 hours to burn it in, and then we have to paint it, and this can be a 3 or 4 hour test. So we do more QC investment of time than building the battery.
Wow.
Now all the energy is being pulled out of the battery into the outdoor air. So
Because Florida needs more heat.
we need more heat, right? All right, we'll come on over this way.
Okay.
So we have to certify the capacity. What we find with our competitors is they'll say, oh, I have 100 amp hour, but when we test that battery, it's 95. If we sell you a 600, it's a 600. If we sell you a 320 for the Echo, it's 320.
Okay.
It's all about truth in engineering.
You're not certifying. Is there a particular number of charge-discharge cycles, or is it all just kind of depends, or how does that work? What's
That's a great question. Our batteries are monitored. So on the Bluetooth app, we'll show you how we're counting amp hours of throughput.
Okay.
So on your battery,
And that's an absolute number.
that's an absolute number, and you can track that every day.
Okay.
How's my battery aging? Nobody's done this, but this is what OEMs want. If you have a 320 amp hour battery, it's good for 3,000 cycles.
3,000. Wow.
That's 900,000 amp hours of throughput.
Okay.
That's on the app.
But
So
what happens after those three? It's good for 3,000 cycles, and then what?
then it starts to lose capacity.
But
it's
it
still a
still
good battery,
works.
yes.
It doesn't
starts
die
going
at
down.
9,000 amp
No,
hours. of
you-
throughput.
So it just starts going down a little.
Less runtime.
Less runtime.
Right.
Okay.
It's what we call loss of SOIC, or state of initial capacity. So in order to know your starting point, you have to know what your starting capacity is, and this is called capacity fading. So over time, the batteries don't get weaker on voltage delivery.
Right.
You're going to have the same air conditioning
You just won't be able to
performance,
fill them as full.
but you won't get as full.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Got it.
Good.
So, but we're near 9,000 hours of
900,000 hours is
900,000
what you should get.
amp hours of throughput.
And it's able to be validated. It's not a bold marketing claim. Nothing about Lithionics Battery is a bold marketing claim. There's a truth in engineering in everything that we do. It's all verifiable. So we have to be careful. It's a bit of a mess, but if you get the right view.
There you go. Okay.
So what is this, Steve?
This
Well-
is probably the coolest mad scientist thing I've seen on this tour. There should be
so
lightning bolts going between the two halves.
You're looking at railroad resistors. So all electric locomotives, they're diesel electric. Well, how do you apply brakes? It's regenerative braking. So when you want to depower the dynamo in the locomotive, this is the load dump. So we're putting the power through these resistors. So they're railroad resistors.
So each,
Oh, wow.
I can see the heat coming off of them.
I
That's
can
just from the,
feel the heat.
is that the
Yeah.
just from the battery side? I can see the little waves.
Yeah, you won't be able to stand here much longer, that's for sure.
Wow.
Very cool. And your
And-
engineers made this?
Yeah, this was all designed and built in-house.
Wow.
You can't just go and buy this stuff.
No, and it's got to be like
Brilliant.
it's got to be like $15,000 worth of 4-aught cable.
Okay, so this is the fence to protect against
copper.
thieves, right?
Wow.
And the camera is behind us. Well, this is goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the tour, Steve.
4 years went by in a heartbeat.
And a lot has happened in
Yeah.
those 4 years for you and for us too.
Yeah, I wish there was an Echo where we could send you off with the Echo. Next time we'll see you, but
I hope
I'm
for
a
now-
little scared that you invited me back because I feel like you're going to check my work on installing the batteries.
no, Chris is going to check your work.
Chris is
I'll
all
let
work.
the engineer check your work. But unfortunately, you have to take a boring jet back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to getting our RV soon and riding off into the sunset with our Lithionics batteries.
Next time you see us, we'll be in the Echo.
You promise it's not going to be another 4 years. Well,
Promise.
have you come back in the fall.
Right on.
All right.
See you later,
thanks,
Steve.
Thank you. Bye, Stef.
Bye.
Bye.